Hello again. How are y'all doing? I hope you're doing quite well. I seem to be making a lot of these videos because I'll be very truthful. For 20 years, I did not read a Watchtower, give consideration to any of the witness publications, didn't think about them. I walked away from them. I didn't want anything to do with them. And there's a lot of things stored up, and I found out that a lot of things have changed. Now, let me talk to you about some of the changes, for example. Now, back in the 80s, I remember there was a Watchtower study about pornea, and it related it to pornography and how all pornography was bad. And Christians want to stay clear of pornography. It degraded humanity. It contributed to illegal enterprises. It was an immoral situation, which I think, you know, is logical. I mean, this is all logical. But you got to wonder at something when an organization, particularly that is led by people who claim to be the faithful indiscreet slave, which is what the governing body has decided to claim for themselves away from the other anointed witnesses. The same people who claim to be Christ's brothers. It's interesting what pornography has to do. And I'm going to read, this is a letter to the elders, elder bodies in the United States of America in April of 2012. I'm going to read this paragraph. What if a publisher viewed pornography that is not abhorrent? Now we're going to deal with this abhorrent pornography here momentarily. One persisting in this practice would not be considered as exemplary and thus would not qualify for special privileges in the congregation. For an explanation of special privileges, please see Shepherding Textbook, Chapter 7, Paragraph 19. However, he would not be dealt with judicially unless he was promoting it or encouraging others to view it with him, as this would give evidence of a brazen attitude characterizing loose conduct. It is important for elders to remember that how they handle each individual case depends on the unique circumstances. Their judgment must be solidly based on God's word and the direction provided by the faithful and discreet slave class. So what we're seeing here is, if you are watching pornography, as long as you're not talking to any of the members, any of the congregation members, or in case you're not looking at Brother X or Sister Y and saying, you know what, why don't you come over and watch a film and I'm going to put in some XXX rated movies, that's fine. But what's this abhorrent pornography? Well, you know, this is touched on actually in this same letter. And I'm going to also be referring to the Shepherding the Flock of God book, which I'm not supposed to have but do. When the viewing of pornography becomes judicial in matter, the March 15th, 2012 issue of the Watchtower, pages 30 and 31, expanded our definition of abhorrent forms of pornography. Thus, the December 15th, 2011 letter to all bodies of elders directed that the third bullet point in paragraph 14, chapter 5 in the Shepherding textbook be modified to include the underlined text below. An entrenched practice of viewing, perhaps over a considerable period of time, abhorrent forms of pornography that is sexually degrading. Such pornography may include homosexuality, sex between those of the same gender, group sex, bestiality, sadistic torture, bondage, gang rape, the brutalization of women, or child pornography. Brazen conduct would be involved if the offender was promoting such material, such as by inviting others to view it, thus giving evidence of a brazen attitude. So, let's stop and wrap our heads around this. It's not just that pornea is bad, pornography is bad, but we have got not so bad pornography and bad pornography. And not so bad pornography means that you're going to get a slap on the wrist and you can't do certain privileges, couldn't have special privileges in the congregation, but as long as you don't tell anyone that you're watching it or invite them, yeah, that's fine. Now, if you're watching these other forms of pornography, well, that's bad. We're going to have a judicial committee for it. Well, I always thought that pornography demoralized humans, period. Well, that's what the standpoint was in the 1980s. Wow, what a change. What an absolute change that the society has wrought. Again, I'm going to quote, this is from the Shepherding the Flock of God, the 2012 edition. An entrenched practice of viewing, perhaps over a considerable period of time, abhorrent forms of pornography that is sexually degrading. And it goes on again to list what I stated. You know, it is interesting that I would have thought from the 1980s that all pornography was bad, and, you know, as James said. Now I'm going to quote the book of James. To sin one law, to break one law, to break one law is to break all law. So I would think that watching pornography is bad. Here they're actually splitting hairs. So let me get this right. Watching one male, one female pornography, heterosexual pornography involving one of each gender, is not bad. Watching abhorrent pornography is bad, and you can be disfellowshipped for. Watching pornography is not as bad as abusive speech, theft, any uncleanness, anything that you can be expelled from the congregation for. But abhorrent pornography is. Now, I want to challenge those of you who are Jehovah's Witnesses watching this tonight. Where's the logic? Tell me, where's the logic in this? How can you imagine Christ? Can you imagine Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God, coming to earth and saying, hey, yeah, I'll tell you what, it's fine for you folks to watch porn as long as you're not trying to push it off on other people. And hey, as long as you're keeping your mouth shut about it, that's fine. You know, we'll slap you on the wrist for that, and maybe you won't be able to do thus and so in the congregation. But now this other type of porn is completely out the window. Can I see the Son of the living God doing that? Can I see the Son of the living God making that kind of distinction? Can you? Can you really see that happening? Does that gel with what we know of Christ's demeanor? Wow. What a change. Now, in the 1980s, the Watchtower was very clear. It's pornea. It is something you avoid. It is bad. You could be you could be ejected from the congregation for. What a change. What a change. And this is from people who claim to be Christ's brothers. Think about it. I want the witnesses who are watching this, if any do, to actually think on it. Now, I quoted from two items that you are not ever supposed to see. Two items. Letter to the Elders, it's March 2012, and Shepherd the Flock of God, the Handbook for the Elders. Quoted for them. Now, please, digest this information. Think about it. Do you want to commit your lives to people that have such double and dualistic standards. Peace and be safe.